Hello and welcome to the Mailborder version 4 tutorial for the Mailborder GUI on the master server. In this video I'm going to walk through some of the basic settings on the server and how to set it up. So starting here with forgot password, if you have this feature enabled, which it can be turned off, users who have forgotten their password can click on this, enter their email address, request, and then it will be sent to them in an email, a reset code. They come here, they put in the code, and they put in their new password. Again, you can disable this feature. So I'm going to log in. So here on the main page we have the dashboard, large icons leading to various places within the GUI. On the left is more detailed view because there are many more places within the GUI. Email statistics here for the entire cluster. A load history here for the master server for CPU and memory. A bandwidth meter here, which is on the master server only. A current load of the master server itself, and Mailborder RSS, which gives a news feed of current releases. This loads one time when you log in, not every time this page loads, so once per session. So you can leave it turned on, I suggest you do. However, you can turn it off in master settings, which we will get to. At the top we have the current version number and build number of Mailborder that we are using. This is a safety icon, safety lock. It is used to enable and disable the safety lock. The safety lock feature is used to prevent unwanted changes on accident. So if you leave the safety lock on, you won't make any mistakes because it won't allow you. For example, if I wish to delete a server, it will not allow me to delete it because the safety lock is on. However, if I turn the safety lock off, I then can delete the server. I suggest you leave the safety lock on and just only turn it off when you need to. Also up here at the top is a small icon to the static mail log, which is here. This is all mail for the entire cluster. It has a search feature here. Search whatever for whatever you like. You can turn the row colors on and off using this icon. You can also turn them on and off using this icon. This leads to the reports, which I will cover later. This leads to the task log, which lists current, pending, completed, and aborted tasks for all servers within the cluster. And this is a theme color changer: red, gray, orange. I'm going to leave it on blue. My account, this is the user that is currently logged in. You can edit your profile here. Basic settings, you can change your password here as well. Your preferences here. This is for the user interface. This I have turned off, but if it's turned on by default when you log in, and it gives a little info notice on each page on what it is, while also with a link to go to here to disable it. I'm going to disable it. So you can change your language for the interface between many different languages here. For example, if you wish to change it to French, you can do so and change it to French, and the entire interface is in French. And what is interesting, if you come here to the event log, it gets translated to French as well. So I'm going to go back and turn on English since I do not understand a word of French. So, mail statistics. When you look at an email, and I'm going to look at the active monitor and bring up an email, it computes the mail statistics for each user here and here. This could be heavy load on the database for very large databases, so you have the option to turn it off. You also mail log statistics, which is here. If I turn this off, I go back to the main page, it's no longer there, it's gone. Turn it back on and save. Here you can turn mail log row colors on or off by default, so when you log in they'll either be on or off. You can also change the color for each one that you like. Whichever you prefer is fine. You can also change the format of the mail. So in the active monitor, Current format is like this, which is year, month, day. You can come to preferences if you prefer and change this M to that M, uppercase, and then the dates will be in this format, the one 2013 December 16th. So if you need guidance on this, go to this link and read about it. Otherwise, don't change it. I advise you don't change it, or just be careful. So we'll start with the left menu and just go down. Active monitor is a live monitor of what's going on with the entire cluster. All of these components refresh every few seconds. The CPU and memory gauge are for the master server only, as well as the bandwidth for the interface. The email statistics are for the entire cluster. The active email monitor periodically refreshes as well for the entire cluster. You can change the bandwidth monitor here under Mailborder System Master Settings. Scroll down to the bottom, and F0 is set by default. You can change it to the interface that you like. Log out and log back in, and it will start monitoring that interface for you. You can also collapse the left menu using this button at the top left, so you can put this up on a display screen. The mail queues are the current queues on each server. This is a full populated list, so it only runs every few hours. And here, for example, you can see here there's a message stuck in the queue. It's probably to no one. This server reported that it has. You can flush the queue using this button here, and it creates a task. You can see here, creates a task to flush the mail queue on that server. Master settings. Basic license information at the top. The safety lock I covered. By default, you can have it on or off, 1 or 0. Language. This is for the system language, not for your personal preference. Your personal preference is under My Account Preferences. If you change the language here to say German, for example, and save, my interface is still in English because that's what I have in my personal preference. However, if I log out, this is now in German, as well as password reset, as well as email notices that you would receive will now be in German. So I'm going to log back in and change this back to English. If you type in a value that does not exist, it will default to English. Require SSL. Again, if you see the help video here, this page is covered in detail. Require SSL, on or off for the site, make sure you have it installed. Password resets, as I mentioned, is here. Postcat is also covered under this video for this page. Log retention, notice emails, all of these other values are talked about on this help link here, which you can come back to. Most of these are pretty intuitive, and they have, all of them have in various languages, in case English is not your primary language. Mailborder users. You can add and delete users. Again, this is covered under this help video. But how it works essentially is you have a user. That user has a type, which here are the default ones that come with Mailborder, and each type has a privilege level. Everything that you can do within the GUI for the entire cluster has a permission level or privilege level associated with it here. They are all listed here. So everything you try to do, it checks your permission level for who you're currently logged in as. You can change these if you wish. You can also come to user types, and you can add more user types with different privilege levels of whatever you want, and you can assign those privilege levels to users here. Now, since I am logged in as this super administrator, it will not allow me to change it, nor will it allow me to disable the account. Mailborder servers are all the servers within the cluster. The master server here is created by default when you set up Mailborder. These are the base settings for the server. Again, this is covered under the help video here on this page if you want more detail. Base settings, mail scanner settings, postfix settings, the database user for the server, the server status, which quickly covers, gives you the information on the GUID, the operating system, the uptime, AV signatures, spam assassin signatures, hard drive status, a brief mail queue information, the schedule for the cron job for that server, and any available updates that server may have. You can change settings. For example, here there are numerous domains here, and how this works is if this server is located, say, in Europe, and the master server is located in the United States, and an email comes in for your domain to this European server, you don't have to set the default delivery to go back to the United States and then back to Europe. You can enable this for this domain, for example. Turn off the safety lock. You can tell this server to deliver to that IP on that port and enable it. And that server only will deliver the email for this domain to that IP. All the other servers will deliver it to the default that is set for it. Server templates. Relay templates. Mailborder works with a very complex layered template system. So your basic types of templates are server templates, domain templates, and object templates. Server templates there are two kinds. There are assignable server templates, which are here, and unassignable templates, which are here. Mailscanner and Postfix are both templates applied to these servers when they were created. If you edit the settings on this server for, say, Mailscanner, which these are the server specific settings for Mailscanner, it will only apply to this server and you cannot copy it to another server. However, these templates, relay templates for example, this template you can assign to more than one server. The one that is checked as default will be assigned to any new server that you create. On this help video on this page, how these relay policies is covered in more detail. But essentially, you can stack the policies on servers. If you come here and edit it, relay policy 1, relay policy 2. So 1 will be processed before 2. You see that I have one called not scanned and then the default. So you can set up devices that are allowed to relay through the Mailborder cluster that are not scanned for viruses or email or whatever. To note in here, there are sitter addresses are possible. However, when you do that, if you'll notice here, there is a checkbox for scan messages by Mailscanner and virus scan. Since this is a sitter address, which is not compatible with Mailscanner scan message rules file, this will be skipped. You can see on a server that is running here, this 10.10.10.0/24 has been skipped, and it explains that it's not been included in this file and sitters are valid for postfix relay build. So if you go to the postfix directory and you look at the My Networks, you will see that this 10.10.10.0/24 is in fact here and is allowed to relay. However, this policy's virus scan and scan messages check will not apply. But when you look at the .50, the 1.50, it does apply. So that's just to keep note of. Safe senders. This is the policy that bypasses scanning, Mailscanner scanning for users and devices. Now, people often put email addresses within whitelists or blacklists. That does not preclude the email from being stopped for violating another rule, such as the email is too big or it contains an attachment type that's not allowed. Safe Senders bypasses all Mailscanner checks. You can virus scan or not. This is also a stackable template here in the Mailborder servers. If you look at the server, Safe Sender Policy 1 and 2. This allows you to have a group of people that are not virus scanned and a group of people that are virus scanned. Domains. These are the domains that the entire cluster will process email for. So if you notice, this one over here says active no. When the servers build their configuration files, they will not include this domain because it's inactive. You can come here and you can set the different policies for all of these. So you can change, for example, the process policy on this server or this domain to something else, and it will impact all servers in the entire cluster. They will all use this policy. Email forwards are just that. An email comes in destined for this guy, we forward it to this guy. That's all it is. You can import and export forwards in CSV format. If you have a lot of email you need to import, put a couple of emails in here and do an export, and then you'll see the format in the email that you need to use to import all of these. It's important to use the format or it'll corrupt the database. Domain templates are templates that apply to domains. Again, server templates apply to at a server level. Domain templates apply at the domain level. Process policy templates are essentially mail scanner templates, but these are only domain specific settings. All of the server settings are actually under the server's mail scanner templates. You can create new templates by simply adding a policy, call it whatever you like, set the settings in it, and assign it to one domain or multiple domains or whatever you want to assign it to. The one that is checked default will get assigned to new domains when you add them. File policy templates are file extensions, what you want to allow and what you do not want to allow. If you come down here on the left menu of Assets, File Extensions, you can define more and add your own if you so desire. Once you do that, it will show up in the file policy templates and you can turn it on or off. MIME policy templates are the same as file policy templates except for they check for the MIME value of the attached file. You can also add MIME types as well. Add the MIME type, default, allow or not. It will add it to all of the existing MIME policies how you specify here, and then you can go back in and update it. RBLs. RBL policies are applied to at a domain level as well, so you can have one domain that uses these RBLs and another domain that uses this RBL, and you can assign these RBLs to different domains. By default, Mailborder comes with numerous RBLs which are valid as of this build that you can use to assign to your different templates. And what happens is when you look at an RBL template, if you want to add one, you simply get it from the drop down list and add it, and it will use it for that template. Blacklist templates, essentially anything coming from a single email, IPv4, v6, fully qualified domain name, an entire domain or localhost address will immediately be blacklisted and quarantined. Be careful with the ignore validation button. This will allow you to add anything down here if for some reason it's failing the validation. However, if it's incorrect, it may cause your entire cluster not to work, so use this with great care. Whitelist templates I covered earlier. Again, whitelist does not guarantee the email will not be quarantined. Whitelist means it will never be marked as spam. So if it doesn't trigger the spam, then it doesn't matter either way. But if it has a file attached to it that is not allowed, for example an executable, it will get quarantined regardless of what is in there, unless you want to put that user in a pass-through template, which I will cover in a moment. You can also put them in a safe sender template, which I do not recommend. Pass-through templates bypass all mail scanner checks. So you can enable virus scan or not. and apply them to the domain. Object templates are mail scanner templates for custom objects. So this is covered in detail in this help button here for this video. However, what it breaks down to is every administrator has a bad user, and my example is Bob, and Bob likes to send really big emails. So I add Bob to this custom object policy, and I set his email attachment and message size very high, so Bob can send big emails but not everybody else, or Bob can send a certain type of file but not the entire domain. So Bob's allowed to do that, and you can use the flow directions for mail scanner here if it's from Bob or if it's to Bob. So say someone is mailing a certain file type to Bob, you can set these restrictions in here. Processing order is what order these get processed in. If you have multiple object templates, then you may want them to go in a certain order. You have to check this enabled button in order for it to be enabled. Mail scanner reports language. This is what comes with mail scanner. You can pick what you like, and then the email reports, these reports that get sent out. For example, this is in English. However, if you come over here to reports language and change it to, I don't know which one do they actually have a translation for. Spanish, I know they do. So I'm going to set the language, and I'm going to come over here and edit the same file, and this is actually the Spanish version. So you can change the text in here and save it. So I'm going to set this back to English. Again, this is the static mail log. This is the entire mail log for the entire cluster. You can search on here, and you can also look at different values in here and get information. Quarantine log is only quarantined email, and it's the same as the mail log other than that. The statistics up here are only for the quarantine email. Mailborder logs. Everything that is done within the interface is logged here. You can see I changed the mail scanner notices language to English here. You see I changed it to Spanish, then I changed it back to English. Everything that I do is logged. Everything that a server does is logged. So if you have a user, this helps track down users who perhaps break things. There is a change log. So for example, it shows that I changed the mail scanner notices language, and it comes with a diff. So the original was Spanish, and I changed it to English, and the diff is I removed Spanish and added English. This is handy for if you want to update relay policies. For example, this is a little longer. This is the modified version, and this is the diff, which simply says in green that I added this. So when you get to very long policies such as this, and it's hard to tell between the modified and the original, this makes it a lot easier. I changed expand TNF to no, and I changed deliver unparsable TNF from no to yes. The release log. Whenever an email is released, it is put here. It is logged here and gets released. The task log. Whenever something is assigned in the task to any of the servers, it gets put here. I'm going to cancel that task just so you can see the aborted. Before the server processes it, it says pending. Once the server processes it, it will notify the master server it's been completed. Charts and graphs. There are many pre-canned graphs in here to give you an idea of mail, and statistics down here at the bottom. You can get really wild and go for all time, and I believe I have 5 years in here. So you can get numbers, general ideas. You can also create your own custom items, which I will get to momentarily. Email distribution. These are pie graphs. Distribution over time. These are stacked bars. User and object analysis. You see the top 10 senders by bandwidth. This is always popular. Or the top 10 senders by volume. Who sent in most email, who sent in big attachments. You can also see the spam score distribution of what's hitting on spam and how many times it's hit. You can see your top hosts that are sending you spam in here, and the domains that they're that they're using. A lot of them use none. These are randomly generated, so don't give them any too much credit. And then over here under other reports, CPU utilization for the master gives you general history as well as memory. If you'll notice, these are empty. That is because you are allowed to, down here, come to assets and report queries and build your own queries if you so desire. Mailborder comes with a lot of them. If you wish to customize one, you can come in and you can simply copy it, and we'll make a copy of this entire thing. Be careful, these are queries that are run on the database, and there is PHP and JavaScript and all kind of stuff involved. So you really need to know what you're doing before you start editing these or creating your own. It's better just to copy it and change a few variables. You're able to restart services on all Mailborder servers at once, or you can pick the server you want to restart it on. So you can restart mail, database, network, web services, spam services, ClamAV, and DNS. Software updates, you can tell everybody to update their spam assassin signatures or just one system. Same with ClamAV and the operating system. If they have any patches, for example, this server has these patches available. This server has none right now. Then if I assign the task to 66 and confirm and create task, it will patch itself. You can also restart servers. You can restart all of them one at a time. System information. This is a general information for the master server. Assets, file extensions. These work in conjunction with file policies. MIME types work in conjunction with MIME policies. RBLs work in conjunction with RBL templates. Report queries, I just briefly covered. XMail data, this is a database for everything that you enter. So any template where you can enter an email or an IP address or a domain name or whatever gets entered in the XMail database. So whenever you come across an item like this, a lot of the times it may be in the XMail database already. So right now there are no items in the XMail database that I can add here. I could add one manually if I so desired, and I can also import by CSV. To show you how this works, I'm going to remove two. Those two items that I removed, they now show up in this list because they're not in this list and they're available. So I could select these if I wanted to and add them all back at once, or you can type to search as well. Postfix base. This is the base configuration for creating new servers. It has no impact on existing servers. These three items are changed when a new server is created. It is assigned the server's host name. But you can come in here and you can change some of these values as well as the order they are built in for each new server that you create. Also here at the Mail Scanner base is the same thing. This is the base template for new servers. It has no impact on existing servers. Be very careful in here. These things that say PID 73 rules, these are the rules that are used within Mailborder as pointers for building multiple rules for multiple domains. So if you go here to Etsy Mail Scanner rules, you will see many rules that are used in conjunction with the configuration. Local configs, this is just general information on the master server. This shows you the settings within my CNF, which is the MySQL configuration. General Apache configuration as well. PHP info for the system. Current IP table firewall rules on the master server for IPv4 and IPv6. And then a terminal is built in here. Be careful with this terminal. Okay, you're only running with the permissions as the web server, so you can't really do much anyway. So essentially it's just a bunch of read-only operations. But you can look and you can see, you can look in directories and see things. For example, you can go look at a file and I can look at the config file for this server. So it's more for informational. Don't try to do anything crazy on here like edit files.